This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.
All right, welcome back. It is Jonathan Clark in the studio with a man that has, he's toured with Jimi Hendrix. He's the man whose business card says friend of Eric Clapton. The man whose guitar pick is a Mexican peso. Last time I checked anyway. And the man who is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with ZZ Top that Keith Richards inducted. He is Billy F. Gibbons. How are you, my friend?
My friend, we are doing all the good today. Glad to be with you.
You are looking good. What is your secret?
Gosh, a lot of traveling and,
No sleep and stuff like that?
Yeah.
That's how you stay young. You don't sleep, right?
You're correct. Well, on the floor. Got to sleep on the floor. Gives you that measure of solidity.
I want to talk to you about that, but I want to talk about the F in your name. That is your dad's name was Frederick, right?
Correct.
And that's where the F comes from. But I guess at a ZZ Top concert or Billy Gibbons concert, the F could stand for something else.
I think I've heard
Billy something Gibbons, right?
Yeah, we can go with it.
Your father was the man who told you he thought it was a good idea for you to come to New York City and study with the legendary Tito Puente.
Indeed.
Tell me about that experience really quick.
Yeah, well, we were banging on the bottom of a metal trash can with a couple of pencils, and then it became to the refrigerator, and then the sink, and then my dad said, listen, if you're going to keep beating on things, we're going to let you know how to do it correctly. And I was 12 years old. He put me on a plane, came up to Manhattan, went down to Spanish Harlem, knocked
12 years old.
Yeah,
Spanish Harlem.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the 60s, or was it the 50s? I can't even remember.
60s.
60s, yeah.
And knocked on the door. Tito Puente opened up, smiling. He thrust a couple of timbale sticks and said, show me what you want me to teach you how to play.
I think that's so cool that your dad knew who Tito Puente was.
Yeah, they were pals from way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this new solo album, and I'm going to hold it up to the cameras here. The Big Bad Blues. We're talking about Muddy Waters songs, Bo Diddley songs, reimagined and put through the Billy F. Gibbons laboratory, and also 9 other originals. And it's a return to your blues roots, but you never left the blues, really, as far as I know.
Correct. In fact, there was even a ZZ Top release entitled One Foot in the Blues. And I think that's a pretty fair statement. We've managed to keep one foot in the blues one way or another.
A big toe, a pinky toe, and a big foot.
Yeah.
I played this whole album last night, and I mentioned this to you before we started the interview. I have a nice little subwoofer system at home, and this album, man, it vibrated my whole apartment. I am from here to God's ear. I got a knock on my door from my neighbors asking me to turn it down last night.
Yeah.
It is so good. Let's mention you'll be performing at the Paramount in Huntington October 28th, and Mischief Night at the Iridium here in New York City October 30th, and then Halloween night again at the Iridium here in New York City. I love all the songs on the new album. I'm not kidding you. The songs that got me right away is Missin' Yo Kissin'. Is that track 1? I think that might be track 1. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And My Baby, She Rocks.
Oh,
Tell me about this album. What inspired you to just get back and do all these covers? Not all of these covers, but originals and covers.
Yeah, I kind of like the way it started. It was rather casual. We were back in Texas, and we had booked some sessions. And coincidentally, one of our favorite session drummers was passing through town. He had a couple of days off. So he dropped by the studio, and one thing led to the next. Mr. Joe Hardy, who was engineering, picked up the bass, and, of course, we kind of shrugged our shoulders, said, let's do what we love doing. And Jimmy Reed, Albert King, B.B. King, all of this stuff started coming forth. And after about the third day, our buddy Greg Morrow, who was beating the sides off the skins, he said, I got to pull stakes. And Joe stepped forward and said, well, do you guys want to hear what we've been doing for a few days? And as it turns out, unbeknownst to any of us except for Joe, he said, yeah, I've had the tape recorder going all this time. But it was on the Natch, and it was, it's how those 2 Muddy Waters numbers and 2 Bo Diddley songs got on the record.
Yeah. Talk about you talked about it briefly, but talk about the rest of the guys that are playing with you on this album.
Well, we've got our another fearless drummer, Mr. Matt Sorum. People would remember his name from early Guns N' Roses days, Velvet Revolver.
He can hit them hard.
Oh yeah, he's fearless.
Yeah.
And James Harmon, a great blues harmonica player, he dropped through. And our famous guitar technician, Elwood Francis, he's not shy about playing the guitar. He threw down. But we've got a real interesting lineup going out on the road. Austin Hanks, left-handed, plays upside down and backwards.
Jimi Hendrix.
Just exactly, with weird tuning on top of it.
Oh my God!
And we just wound up having a great old time.
This is really cool. If you go to BillyGibbons.com, you can get a signed green vinyl copy of the album, a T-shirt, hat, bottle opener, patch, and more. Again, go to BillyGibbons.com for all that. And everybody go out and get this record. It's so good. I want to talk to you about, you had the opportunity to experience playing on stage with Prince. And I think it was at was it ZZ Top Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony? And that was, I mean, you hadn't realized, you knew Prince at the time as this unbelievable performer, but you didn't really know him as a guitar slinger, a guitar axeman, right?
Well, I had really taken an interest with that remarkable introduction on When Doves Cry.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's one of those challenges to try and learn it. After the induction ceremony from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame night, I was kind of back at the hotel, decided to go out late.
This is in New York, right?
Yeah, right here in Manhattan. And I went down to Florent. There was a place on Gansevoort, but they were
meatpacking, yeah.
They were closed for remodeling, and across the street was this interesting bar, and I could peek through the door, and they had some Brazilian dancers dancing right down the bar, and I decided to go in.
Of course, how could you not at that point?
Yeah, at 1 in the morning, and I hadn't stepped 2 feet in the door, and some large fellow said, "Follow me. Somebody wanted to talk to you." And I was led to a corner table, and sitting all by himself, there was Prince. And we sat down, and he just wanted to talk guitar, and it just lit the fuse. Away we went.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what happens when two guitar players get together, right? I mean, so what did you talk about? Like, did you talk about style? Did you talk about songs, artists' favorite guitar solos? Or?
Yeah, all of that. And it really reinforced my belief in just how dedicated he had been as a performer on the guitar. Everybody knows he was a great performer all the way around. He did just about everything, did it all himself. And yet, I think as a technician, his performing style was somewhat overlooked until later on in the game. But yeah, he was. I asked him about When Doves Cry.
Yeah.
And he sat there, and he was in his quiet manner. He said, "Yes, I too am trying to relearn it."
So he just probably like walked in and just like, let me do some crazy riff, and then we'll start the song. And
total throwdown, walk away, come back later.
Wow. Billy F. Gibbons is with us. The new album is The Big Bad Blues. He's on tour now. You can go to BillyGibbons.com. He's coming our way to New York City to the Iridium Mischief Night, October 30th, and also Halloween Night, October 31st, and the Paramount in Huntington, October 28th. I hope you don't mind. I went to Google. I found some commonly asked questions that people around the world seem to ask Google a lot about you and ZZ Top. These are not my questions. These are questions that have been asked by Google users from around the world about you and ZZ Top. And you mentioned this before. Is it true that in hotels you don't sleep in the bed, you sleep on the floor?
Yeah, back to that. Of course. Yes, it is true. And it's kind of a curious preference. But I find that there's some I don't know, there's just some reassurance in having that solidity And perhaps that's why Mrs. Gibbons.
Right, I was going to say your wife. How does she feel about that?
Well, she wrote "Missing Your Kissin'." I think it's because I have to get up and snuggle up every once in a while just to.
Well, it's probably better for your back, I would think, right?
I
mean,
don't mind it. I
yeah.
don't mind it.
Were Billy Gibbons and ZZ Top offered a lot of money to shave their beards?
To this day, we don't know what's lurking in these chin whiskers of ours.
Yeah.
And early on, we had taken a break off the road and disappeared. We were staying in touch by telephone, and when we got back together, these bristles that were starting to sprout had taken on a epic proportion. And
except for Frank, whose last name is Beard, who does not have a beard.
Yeah, go figure.
Right.
After 50 years, it's like, okay, Frank Beard, the man with no beard. But yeah, we were offered. We had to deny it. We couldn't bring ourselves to doing it.
Okay, let's see. Is Billy Gibbons a vegan?
Well, I don't know. I was walking down Soho, and there was a rather interesting restaurant. Turns out to be a vegan restaurant, but that brought up a recent discovery here in Manhattan. There's a certain restaurant that is serving smoked watermelon.
Wow!
And I think it started as a challenge, but it certainly pleases the vegans out there. They don't have to consume meat, but they don't have to feel like they've been left out of the barbecue line.
Right. How many guitars does Billy Gibbons own at this moment in time?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, as the old saying goes, one's too many and 100 ain't enough.
Gotcha.
Well,
What guitar does Billy Gibbons play the most?
one of the more recent ones that will be seen on this next outing with the Big Bad Blues, our fearless guitar builder in Boise, Idaho. He's made a right-handed for me and a lefty for Austin Hanks, and they're outfitted with this crazy pickup that turns a guitar into a guitar and a bass guitar at the same time.
Wow. What's the name? Give him a plug.
It's called A Little Thunder.
A Little Thunder.
Yep.
What kind of sunglasses does Billy Gibbons wear?
The Ray-Ban Caballero.
Caballero.
Yes, sir.
And how many cars does Billy Gibbons own?
Oh, Lord. I guess the question is running, still running?
Right. Well, yeah.
There's a garage full. We are waiting for the day when we got a holiday and go see if they can crank it up.
Have you done Jay Leno's show yet?
Yeah.
You have?
We have.
Okay. ZZ Top, the longest-running major rock band, still composed of its original members. And I think B.B. King told you once a long time ago that just play what you want to hear and everything will be fine. Is that one of the reasons that the band has stayed together for so long?
Oh, certainly. We embrace that adage from B.B. dearly. I guess there's one extra caveat to that whole thing. Someone said, gee whiz, you've stayed together longer than most marriages. What's the secret? Separate buses.
Right. There you go.
Yep.
His name is Billy F. Gibbons. Everyone go out and get this new album, The Big Bad Blues, and see him on tour. He's coming to the Paramount in Huntington, October 28th, then Mischief Night at the Iridium in New York City, October 30th, Halloween night again at the Iridium in New York City, and the album again, The Big Bad Blues. And you can get all kinds of stuff. You can get an album bundle at BillyGibbons.com, a signed green vinyl copy of the album, T-shirt, hat, bottle opener, patch, and more. Green vinyl sounds so amazing. Billy F. Gibbons, you are the man, you are the myth, you are the legend, and we are so glad that you are out there still doing it. And make this record, I told you, my neighbors complained last night, so I know right there that it is a fantastic album. So.
Always a pleasure being with you, and I'm glad that your subs are still subbing.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
All right.
This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q104.3.